border security and strong livelihoods. Now, while the next budget is in the phase of negotiations, we need to move rapidly now and efficiently to improve our defense posture. We cannot wait for the new budget, we have to act now already. And as you know, together we have enabled financial support of 800 billion that we have together agreed. It is the National Escape Clause and it is the SAFE instrument, 800 billion euros that are accessible till 2030. Now, if I take the SAFE instrument, it will focus on pan-European defense projects. For example, capabilities to counter drone attacks. 19 member states have applied to SAFE, including Lithuania. I'm glad to say that the instrument has been fully subscribed, all 150 billion euros. And I was glad to hear, Gitanas, that the 3 Baltic states and Poland are already preparing joint procurement for the Eastern Shield initiative. This is an excellent investment of common European interest where we should focus on. You also applied, of course, for the second instrument, the budgetary flexibility, we call it National Escape Clause. You are already among NATO's top spender by GDP, and now you have requested more flexibility in the budget like 15 other member states do too. Finally, it is important not only the funding, but also the implementation of the funding and that we have a coherent approach. Therefore, we will present in fall to the European Council a roadmap about what is necessary to strengthen our defense posture, what are our gaps, what capabilities are needed, what are our milestones, what are our targets, because we know only what we can measure really gets done finally. Dear Gitanas, having broken free from Soviet oppression, Lithuania deeply understands Ukraine's fight for survival. You have been a staunch supporter from day one on, and I want to thank you for your support and the generosity towards our brave neighbor. This includes also your new plan to allocate 200 million euros more to the Ukrainian armed forces as announced last week. This is excellent news. And you mentioned the security guarantees. Indeed, we are working on them together also in the coalition of the willing. Important is the first line of defense of security guarantees for Ukraine in peacetime is a strong Ukrainian army, well-equipped, an experienced army. The second line of defense would be a multinational group from the coalition of the willing with the backstop of the Americans. And the third important line of defense is our own defense posture. Of course, I want to mention, you can also call a security guarantee membership in the European Union for Ukraine. So this is the whole package we are together working on here. Dear Gitanas, today I'm here to reaffirm Europe's indefectible solidarity with Lithuania, because Europe needs a strong Lithuania to protect our borders and our people. I know that Europe can count on you, and I know that I can count on you and the Lithuanian people personally. Thank you very much.
Now we have time for 2 questions. I invite you to approach the microphone to introduce yourself, ask a question, and tell to whom you address it.
Hello, Stepolowskaite, news agency Alta. A question for President of the European Commission. Yesterday you announced that in the next 7-year financial perspective, more funds will be allocated for migration and border management in countries that share borders with Russia and Belarus. However, those are long-term plans. So what can the European Union do now, considering that the threats at the borders are growing and evolving? And I'm referring to the upcoming Zapad military exercises and several recorded cases of drones flying into Lithuania from Belarus. And one more question for both. What can Lithuania expect from the European Union?
Yeah. As you rightly said, the long-term structural answer is the new modern budget. And as I've explained, we took put a strong focus on defense and border protection by drastically increasing the funding. But of course, we have to act also now. And two instruments that are at our disposal for defense and border protection right now is the SAFE instrument, and for the member states nationally, the National Escape Clause. We have already achieved a lot to help Lithuania cope with the constant pressure in the current budget. Lithuania has a 357 million euro EU program that is dedicated for border management and visa policy. We have implemented it, or we have agreed on it in 2021. And since then, we have on a regular basis added money to it. For example, to boost surveillance capacities, tracking the trains. I just could see one of the trains going through Lithuania between mainland Russia and Kaliningrad, but also the financing of the purchase of a helicopter, for example. So these are very concrete examples. Finally, to cope with the migratory pressure, we have made available almost 135 million euros to Lithuania to finance electronic, state-of-the-art border surveillance systems. So you see a lot has been done specifically for Lithuania. Then there is the second layer of instruments now, like SAFE, and then there will be the next European long-term answer, that is the new budget for the European Union.
We are committed to improve the security of our state border, and Madam President already mentioned the SAFE instrument, which is especially important right now. And as I mentioned, Lithuania has applied for 8 billion euros from this financial instrument. 7 billion euros will be dedicated to establishment and development of our national division until 2030. About 1 billion euros will be dedicated to the strengthening of our border and exactly in building the Baltic defense line together with our neighbor Poland. So I think those resources will come immediately. They will be spent in the most efficient way. And Lithuania understands the situation now is very dangerous, very fragile, and we have to be able to detect the UAVs which are crossing from time to time our border, and we should be able to shoot them down if needed. So this is about safety of our people, and we take this very seriously.
Last question.
Frozen Russian central bank assets, either as a loan for Ukraine or within.
I think there we are. So we welcome the Lithuanian proposal. In general, as you know, what we do right now, we take the windfall profits from the mobilized assets and we directly channel them to Ukraine, either for defense matters or for reconstruction matters. So far, 3.7 billion euros have been generated by windfall profits, and more is to come on a regular basis. But we are also reflecting on the next steps and best use of these assets, because one thing is very clear. Russia, the predator, has to be held accountable for what it did and has to pay. Has to pay for the damage and for the aggression. That has to be the principle, and therefore we are looking into an additional use of the windfall profits that are immobilized.
Lithuania is committed to require the use of frozen assets, because the windfall profits was good idea, but it's not enough. We are talking about catastrophic losses Russia is responsible for, human lives, infrastructure, buildings, transport infrastructure, and Russia, as a country who is responsible for this war, should pay. So we will be consistently trying to convince some skeptical countries which are still considering the idea of use of frozen assets, and I hope that at the end of the day we will have the final result.
Good.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good speech.
You in front of a helicopter to have a family photo with the students of the border guard school. Yeah, they are coming.
Ah,
yes.
Wonderful. What a good idea.
Yeah, why not?
Yes.